Hey, guess what? If you're interested in a career in radio, WHIP's got something coming up that you might be interested in. On March 29th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the Student Center, we'll be hosting Turns, a networking event with panelists from all around the radio industry. Check the description for more info. Anywho, the news. Sometimes it just kinda sucks. And this is one of those times. But this stuff doesn't get better when it stays in the dark, so let's talk about it. New Zealand just suffered the deadliest terrorist attack in its history at the hands of a self-professed white supremacist. Plus, the president and his old lawyer keep getting in these ugly public Twitter spats. We've also got some breaking news on Paul Manafort's sentencing, as well as a big college admissions scandal. Also, Mumps. It's at Temple. It's just one of those weeks, I guess. From WHIP, I'm Tony Pearson, and this is your WHIP Weekly News Crackdown. 49 people are dead and more are severely injured following a mass shooting at two mosques in New Zealand's South Island. The terrorist attack began Friday afternoon during prayers. For reference, this is roughly equivalent to a shooting at a church on a Sunday morning. The attack was live streamed by the perpetrator, who we've chosen not to name, on various social media sites, including YouTube. According to a manifesto released by the perpetrator, the attack was planned well in advance, and his weapons and ammunition were also covered in white supremacist symbols and iconography. Two others who were arrested on the scene are under investigation. The last words of the first person the gunman killed have since gone viral. As he faced the gunman approaching the mosque, he met him with a gentle greeting, "Hello, brother," before being gunned down. For a more detailed discussion on this topic and recent trends in terrorism in general, check out our Rational Radio podcast from the day of the attack. Now, on to less horrific news. On March 8th, President Donald Trump published a tweet claiming that his former personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, asked him for a pardon and lied about it in his testimony to the House Oversight Committee. Cohen responded by tweeting at Mr. Trump to accuse him of lying and to suggest he apologized to Karen McDougal and Stephanie Clifford. Cohen was sentenced in December for a variety of lying under oath and tax fraud related charges. He recently gave testimony to suggest the president asked him to pay hush money to McDougal and Clifford during the 2016 presidential campaign. During his testimony, he claimed that he did not ask the president for a pardon. Cohen will begin serving his sentence on May 6th and is definitely not expecting a presidential pardon now. Speaking of the president's pals, Paul Manafort was sentenced to 47 months in prison in a Virginia court on March 7th for 2 counts of bank fraud and 5 counts of tax evasion. Manafort was formerly President Trump's campaign chair, was convicted last summer. He was sentenced again to an additional 73 months on Wednesday for witness tampering and unregistered lobbying in Washington, D.C. The judge determined that Manafort would serve 30 of these counts concurrent with the 47 he had already been sentenced to. So his total prison time rounds out to about 3.5 years. In both cases, Manafort's lawyers requested leniency due to his health issues. If he had received both maximum sentences, he could have had a sentence of up to 24 years. But he's not out of the woods yet, because he's also in trouble in New York. Yikes. The House of Representatives unanimously passed a resolution last Sunday to make special counsel Robert Mueller's report on potential Russian election interference available to Congress and the public. Specifically, no one present voted against the resolution, allowing it to pass with an official 420-0 vote, despite 8 members of Congress choosing not to vote and 4 Republicans only voting present. Up to this point, Attorney General William Barr has refused to guarantee that the contents of the special investigation will be made public, which Senate Democrats have criticized since his confirmation. However, the resolution cannot force Barr to make the entire report public, since it is non-binding. Because of this, some Republicans have called the vote a, quote, waste of time. Instead, the resolution places pressure on Barr by further reminding him what legislators want from him. Hopefully, he will comply. Things were spicy this week in the Senate too, though. In a 59-41 vote, the Senate voted to block President Trump's declaration of a national emergency at the southwestern border on Thursday, saying that the president was exceeding his powers by trying to build a wall without support from Congress. In response, President Trump vetoed their effort. This was the first veto of Trump's presidency and the first time Congress voted to override a presidential emergency declaration. That said, the margin is not large enough to override a presidential veto. So for now, it looks like Trump is going to get the power he wants. A House vote to veto his veto to their veto is expected to take place on March 26th. If the override cannot receive 2/3 of the vote, which at this point it likely won't, Democrats have said that they plan to bring it up every 6 months. That's a lot of vetoes. But that's not all, folks. The Education Department faces a 10% funding cut under Trump's 2020 budget proposal. The plan, titled A Budget for a Better America, requests $7.1 billion less than the agency's allowance in 2019. The budget eliminates subsidized student debt, in which interest doesn't accumulate on student loans while borrowers are in school or in economic hardship. It also reduces the number of repayment plans for students and removes the public service loan, which was signed into law by President George W. Bush in 2007. That last one allowed not-for-profit and government employees to have their federal student loans canceled after 10 years of on-time payments. Other programs that could face cuts include the Federal Work-Study Program, which provides part-time jobs for undergraduate and graduate students with financial need. It's a good thing that these budget cuts aren't coming at a time of crippling student debt and fundamental shortcomings in public education across the country, because that'd just be awful. Speaking of awful education, 50 people were charged on Tuesday for involvement in a scandal where wealthy families allegedly bribed collegiate advisors and coaches. Why? To convince them to admit their children to some of the most elite universities in the nation. That's right, the one thing these mega-rich assholes aren't supposed to be able to buy, merit-based admission to colleges, they bought anyway, thanks to the sheer volume of their wallets. This is like everything that's wrong with America in one story. 9 athletic coaches and 33 parents have been charged in the investigation, many coming from law, business, and finance backgrounds, and dozens had been arrested by midday. Those who were arrested were named by a former Yale University soccer coach who had pled guilty and helped to further the investigation. In particular, the investigation has brought down coaches working at Georgetown University, Stanford University, Wake Forest University, the University of Texas, the University of Southern California, and the University of California, Los Angeles. Prosecutors have said that the charged parents paid admissions consultants between $200,000 and $6.5 million to bribe athletic directors to falsely portray their children as star athletes to get them admitted. But that's not all. Some hired insiders at testing centers to alter their children's test scores. No students were charged, since many did not know what was going on. Some of the most famous parents arrested include Full House actress Lori Loughlin and Desperate Housewives actress Felicity Huffman. Many of the students in question are now dropping out over fear of being bullied. A+ effort, everyone. Psst, hey, want to wash that anger down with a cold bottle of pop? Or soda or Coke or whatever you call it? A new bill has been presented to Mayor Jim Kenney that would gradually phase out the Philadelphia soda tax through 2021. This bill, which was proposed by City Councilwoman Maria Quinones Sanchez, is the most serious challenge to the soda tax, which was a major milestone in Mayor Kenney's first term. The facts and figures of the bill are still unclear, so it's unknown whether the bill will actually fade out the tax or eliminate it altogether. The bill is currently supported by all Republicans on the council and 3 Democrats. In order to pass, the bill needs 2 more votes to reach the requirement of 9. If they wish to override a mayoral veto, then they will need 10 votes. The damage is already done, though. I mostly drink juice now. The liberal agenda strikes again. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for. Nearly 50 temple-related mumps cases have been reported this week. Probably more by now. 3 of these cases are in surrounding counties and are linked to Temple University. Symptoms of the mumps include fever, headache, pain along the jaw, neck, pelvis, or testicles. Oh no. And weakness or fatigue. Students and surrounding community members experiencing these symptoms are encouraged to see their regular doctors or student health services. Also, stay home. Mumps is extremely contagious. And freaking get vaccinated if you aren't already. There is no treatment for mumps, but symptoms can be relieved with medicine like Tylenol and Motrin, and with rest, plenty of fluids. On Tuesday, the university announced that all incoming students will now be required to have the mumps, measles, and rubella vaccine, along with the chickenpox vaccine and the diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis vaccines. It is recommended that people with mumps isolate themselves so that they are less likely to infect other people. I cannot believe I am reporting on a mumps outbreak in 2019. But let's end on a bright note. Temple's Celebration of Globalization concert was held on Tuesday night to honor Global Award winners John F. Smith III, Board Chair Emeritus of the Global Philadelphia Association, and Richard M. Angler, President of Temple University. The event featured the Lansdowne Symphony Orchestra with conductor Ruben Blundell and guest conductor Hai Lung Dai. It was held at the Kimmel Center for the Performing Arts, and I heard it was pretty good. That's all the time we have for today. I think I feel a mump developing. Join us next week for more of the news you care about, and don't forget we're hosting that radio networking event on March 29th. From WHIP, I'm Tony Pearson, and this has been your WHIP Weekly News Crackdown. It's getting windy out there. I mean, you can't see because it's just freaking, it's the void behind me, but there's wind.